What's going on, Celtics fans? We have a lot to unpack on today's show as the rumors have been flying around the NBA ever since yesterday's blockbuster trade that sent Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks and Jrue Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers, although it's unlikely he's ever going to suit up for them. So, of course, as always, I am Allie Barefoot. I actually do have shoes on, and my producer Smitty is actually to my left today. So we're going to be talking about Celtics trading for Holiday. There are numerous teams that have entered this trade chat, including the Boston Celtics. We're going to break down why and why not we think they should do it. And Brad Stevens has now broken his silence on Malcolm Borgdon, who is now reportedly in Boston. And Kristaps Porzingis has been playing ball at this training camp. So we're going to have an injury update on him and the promising center that the Celtics can look forward to. But first, Adam Himmelsbach did tweet this. Not a big surprise, but I've been told the Celtics are expected to explore the possibility of trading for Jrue Holiday, as they should. I think every team that is eligible to be looking at this player absolutely should. Jrue Holiday would be a great addition to the Celtics. So, like he said, not surprised that Celtics have entered the chat. And here's what Gary Washburn had to say about it. The Celtics could package Malcolm Borgdon, Al Horford, and multiple first-round picks for the rights to Holiday, who would assume point guard duties and send Derek White back to his shooting guard position. Overall, this isn't terrible, but we did break down Gary's idea right here so you can visually see it. The Celtics would receive Jrue Holiday, and the Trailblazers would receive Malcolm Brogdon, Al Horford, and multiple first-round picks. And the Trailblazers have already said we're looking for a draft pick, so we got that checked off. They could do this. Absolutely. But you're giving up a little bit too much to acquire Jrue Holiday. So ultimately, I don't see the Celtics doing this. I think that Brad Stevens really likes his roster right now. Holiday's contract just it's going to cost too much. So I don't think Boston is going to be the team that ends up acquiring Jrue Holiday. I think that anybody who gets him is going to have a leg up. He's a great player. It's going to make your roster awesome. But do the Boston Celtics need him? No, not in my opinion. So should the Celtics pursue a Jrue Holiday trade? I want you guys to type this in the comment. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. I think no. I think ultimately you should have the conversation, but you should just cut it off once everything is getting a little too out of hand. So I'm going to go with no. That's my final answer. But here's why. Extensions for Brown and Tatum. You've already made Jaylen Brown the highest paid player in the NBA, and you're more than likely going to do the same thing for Tatum. That's going to be another fat bag you're going to have to try to afford. Holiday is a $37.4 million player. You send out about $33.5 million if you were to send out Malcolm Brogdon, who's $22.5, and Al Horford, who's about $10. That's just too much, in my opinion, to go out for Al Horford. You can add a third team. You can get the money right. There's no doubt about it the Celtics could actually do this. But once again, I just don't think this is why it's going to work. However, if they do go this route and do end up getting Holiday, you will not see a tear come from my eye. I'm going to be through the roof. I think Holiday is a great player. He's going to make an already amazing Boston Celtics roster even that much better. I think if you put Jrue Holiday on the Celtics, they can beat the Bucks. Easy. Honestly, probably 3 out of 4 times. That's how confident I am if you add Jrue Holiday to this, because you're adding such a defensive asset to this roster. So when you look at the potential starting 5 with the possibility of adding Jrue Holiday, like he said, you kind of move Derek White to the shooting guard, but of course you're not going to start him over Jaylen Brown. So you kind of, in my opinion, put Derek White as a more backup point guard, backup shooting guard for Jaylen Brown. Jrue Holiday, Jaylen, Jason, Kristaps, Robert. I think this is just as dangerous as adding Damian Lillard to the Bucks roster, but I think you're adding more of a defensive asset, whereas Dame and the Bucks are adding an offensive asset. He averaged about, I know I have his stats right here in front of me, he averaged 3.9 defensive rebounds last year in the regular season and 1.2 steals per game. I think if you add Jrue Holiday, you are making up for getting rid of the defensive asset in Marcus Smart. I think you absolutely should look into it, but I think ultimately you would still be giving up too much. Would you accept this trade? Type A for accept, type D for decline. Like I said, guys, I'm going with D for decline. I just think this is too much money. I don't think there's enough assets here. So I'm going to go D for decline, but I want to hear from you guys. Are we on the Jrue Holiday train? Let me know. Type A for accept, D for decline. Now, coming up, we are going to talk about Brogdon news, and it's a little bit of a positive update. And we're going to have a Porzingis health update. But first, I want you guys to learn about our new sponsor, Prize Picks. Celtics Today is brought to you by our sponsor, Prize Picks. It's a daily fantasy sports app where all you have to do is pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. It is so easy to use. This is where I go. It takes less than 60 seconds to pick more or less for any player. You can do about 2 to 6 picks, and they even offer deals like Taco Tuesday and Flex Friday. I immediately go to Prize Picks, select my top choices. You can even do this ahead of the NBA season, but I went on ahead and picked some Boston Red Sox for my picks today. I've got Chris Sale pitching less than 6 strikeouts and Connor Wong less than 0.5 total bases. All you have to do to make your picks is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. The link and description are always in the chat, and you can watch yourself win some real money in real time. The big man, Brad Stevens, has finally said something about Malcolm Borgdon. He did reportedly say that he is now in Boston, but he finally kind of understood what Brogdon was going through, but yet we have to hear from Brogdon. So Brad Stevens did say, I would say he had every right to feel upset. We said that this summer, but he's a real pro, and we've had several discussions. He's looking forward to getting started. We're looking forward to getting started, and here we go. So like I said, no word from Brogdon. They haven't announced when their media day is, but I can assure you Brogdon's probably going to have some words for Brad Stevens there. But I said in last video, look, Brogdon, if you want to stay in Boston, now's the time to speak up, because I have no doubt that if it actually does work out, they will send you to Portland to acquire Jrue Holiday. So it is positive news from Brad Stevens, but I'm waiting to hear from Brogdon's side, because the latest on Malcolm Borgdon was that the Celtics were shutting down trade talks for Brogdon ahead of the new season. He was traded to the LA Clippers. Clippers sent him back because of the injury, and then Smart went to the Grizzlies and Porzingis trade, all old news. But Brogdon reportedly was not happy with the Celtics. But there is actually signs of Brogdon now in Boston, but there used to not be. So Brad Stevens did say that everybody is in Boston. He didn't specify that it was Brogdon, but I'm going to say that accounts for Malcolm. So why don't you go on ahead and show Brogdon some love in the comments? Spam 13. Let him know that it's all good. We had a little bit of tiff in the summer. We had a little bit of beef for the front office, but it's okay to be upset. Show him some love on social media. Spam 13 in the comments. And Brad Stevens reportedly really likes the roster this year with Malcolm Brogdon on it. He said, I like this team. We've been lucky that year in, year out, we've been in the mix and we've had a chance. We'll see if we take all the appropriate steps to put ourselves in that position again. So that's why I'm also very confident that Jrue Holiday is not going to join the Celtics. If I'm wrong, let me be wrong. Once again, I'm not going to be mad if he ends up coming to Boston. But Stevens really likes this roster, and so do we. Smitty and I have been talking day in and day out about how excited we are for Boston basketball, especially for somebody like Kristaps Porzingis to now join this team. So I think that ultimately Stevens isn't going to acquire this as hard as some other teams, because once again, Boston doesn't necessarily need Jrue Holiday, but we will always take him. So now we're going to move into the Kristaps Porzingis injury update. It's a good update, guys. Finally, we do know he was dealing with plantar fasciitis for 4 to 6 weeks this summer, and he was on a workout shutdown. That 4 to 6 weeks ended a week ago now. Last week was his 6th week, so he's been practicing, working out in Boston, and we did get this tweet from Adam Himmelsbach saying, per source, Kristaps Porzingis took part in his first scrimmage Wednesday since being shut down due to his foot injury. He looked good and had no issues. Adam Himmelsbach, I'm going to kiss you on the forehead. That's the best report I have gotten so far about Porzingis. It looks like the Boston Celtics are going to get a healthy Kristaps Porzingis to start the season. Knock on wood. That's all I'm asking for. But Brad did want to avoid another Gallo incident because they did talk to him when he played for Latvia this summer for the World Cup. He missed the World Cup because he talked to his trainers in Latvia, but he really talked to the Celtics, and they said, ultimately, don't play. Don't make this any worse than it needs to be. Of course, we know Gallo with his ACL injury. So Porzingis really put the team first in this. He could have definitely won a World Cup for his national team. So I think this speaks big volume. The fact that he wants to play for the Boston Celtics. And Porzingis, we want you to play for the Boston Celtics. And we also want you to subscribe to this channel because we're constantly putting out news and rumors about the Boston Celtics. Guys, we are so close to basketball starting in Boston. We cannot wait. We're super excited. We want you to be a part of it. So hit that subscribe button for me.